Justice for Sascha Riley. And for every survivor whose voice has been bared, the allegations surrounding Sascha Riley remain unverified in court. But that does not mean they should be ignored. A society that claims to believe in justice must demand a serious, independent investigation for every survivor, regardless of how powerful the accused may be. There are stories that disturb the public not only because of what they allege, but because of what they reveal about power, silence, and the long road victims face when they try to be heard. The case of Sascha Riley is one of those stories. In recent months, audio recordings attributed to a person identified as Sascha or Sascha Riley circulated widely online, making serious allegations connected to Jeffrey Epstein and powerful public figures. Reports have noted that these claims have not been authenticated by a court or confirmed by law enforcement. That fact matters. It means the public must be careful, precise, and legally responsible. But it does not mean the allegations should be mocked, buried, or dismissed without scrutiny. Justice does not begin with blind belief. But it also does not begin with automatic disbelief. That IT begins with investigation, that IT begins with listening carefully, IT begins with protecting possible victims, that IT begins with asking why. Again and again, allegations involving influential people are treated as reputational problems before they are treated as human suffering. Sascha Riley deserves that basic dignity, not a media circus, not political exploitation, not online abuse, not instant sainthood, not instant dismissal. He deserves a serious, transparent, independent examination of what is said, what records may exist, what can be verified, and what institutions may have failed to investigate properly. That is not a partisan demand. It is a human one. The Epstein scandal has already shown the world something deeply rotten. Wealthy, connected, and protected men can move through society for years while victims are ignored, discredited, threatened, or reduced to footnotes. Epstein himself was a convicted sex offender, and the broader public record around his network has continued to raise questions about institutional failure, secrecy, redactions, and protection of powerful names. Reporting in 2026 also described renewed controversy over Epstein-related files, withheld documents, and unverified claims contained in official materials. This is why Sascha Riley's case should not be treated as internet noise. IT should be treated as a test of whether society has learned anything from Epstein, the test of whether victims only matter when their abusers are socially convenient, the test of whether power still decides whose pain is credible. The correct position is clear. Every allegation must be investigated with fairness, evidence, due process, and protection for all victims. No person should be declared guilty by rumor, but no alleged survivor should be silenced simply because the names involved are powerful, famous, political, or protected by loyal audiences. Justice must not have a political party. If the allegations are false, a serious investigation can clarify that if parts are true, then silence becomes complicity. If institutions failed, they must answer. If evidence exists, it must be preserved. If victims were ignored, they must finally be heard. The worst response is not caution. Caution is necessary. The worst response is indifference. Because when society laughs at alleged survivors before checking the facts, it teaches every other victim the same terrible lesson. Speak up, and you'll be destroyed before anyone investigates. That is unacceptable. Sascha Riley deserves the right to be heard. Every victim deserves the right to be heard. And every accused person, no matter how powerful or hated, deserves due process. These principles do not cancel each other. They belong together. A civilized society does not choose between victims' dignity and legal fairness. It demands both. The call today is simple. Open the records. Protect the victims. Investigate the claims. Follow the evidence. Stop hiding behind power. Stop treating survivors as problems. Stop allowing wealth, politics, and fame to decide who receives justice. If Sascha Riley is telling the truth, justice must not arrive too late. If other victims are still silent, they must know the world is ready to listen. And if the Epstein case taught us anything, it is this. When powerful networks are protected by silence, silence itself becomes part of the crime. Justice for Sascha Riley. Justice for every survivor. Justice not as a slogan, but as a duty.